Alright guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to do a pan swap on a 1990 or whatever CRX EF. This varies somewhat differently for different vehicles, but it can be done for all. Mostly all. And today I'll be doing Prelude seats in my 90 CRX, and yeah. These are the tools you're going to be needing. First off, you got needle nose pliers, Phillips screwdriver, dikes, a blade, any sort of blade that can cut fabric, 2 bolts, you'll later see why. Thread lock is good but is not needed. A drill bits, a cutting wheel, zip ties, an assortment of wrenches or ratchets and sockets. Okay guys, so this is my current seats. They're 97 EK seats, and I've done the pan swap before. I put my CRX rails on them. Alright, so what you guys are going to want to do, there's 4 bolts. They're 12 millimeter. There's one right there, down here, and they're hiding over here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's under there. That one, and there's one on the top. Under that, you just got to slide the rail down, and you use a 12 millimeter socket and just take those out, and the rails will come off. Once the rails are off, this is what it's going to look like. You just have the pan. What you got to do is if you're doing this for the first time, you're gonna have rings. You just got to take those off with the pliers, needle nose pliers. Just twist them out. They'll come out harsh, pretty easy. They're a pain in the ass. But I have zip ties since I've done this before, and that's what I use to hold on the fabric. That is not the safest thing to use, but that is what I use. So do it at your own risk. And yeah, let me take that off, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so now all the fabric's loose. And what you need to do is take off the side plastic. There's 2 screws on these EK seats, and all of the seats pretty much have this plastic to cover this metal rail right here. There's going to be 2 bolts on this. I believe they're 14 millimeter. You just got to take those out. That way you can extract the pan from the seat. And I'll show you guys a view of that thing right now. Alright, so the 2 screws taken out, and a lot of people probably will have trouble with this. It's a bitch. Just gotta pull and it'll slide out. See how I can hold this. So if you're doing this for the first time, it's gonna be 2 14 millimeter bolts. It's gonna be the one right here and another right there. But since I've already done this, and this requires drilling into the pan in different spots, I put this one in down here. And so, but it's still 2. You just got to remove those. And after you do that, the backing will come off of the bottom of the freaking seat. And all you got to do from there is take off the pan, and you'll be good to go to start on your other seats. Forgot to mention one thing. The pan is loose, except there's a 19 millimeter bolt you got to remove, so then you can fully remove it. Here's the pan removed, and here's that 19 millimeter bolt. Make sure you keep this because you're gonna need this. So here's a Prelude seat's bottom. We have to remove that. Now compared to the CRX or EF seats, this one looks like what the fuck's going on. But it's not too hard. The thing with these is that the bolts are not under on the rails, they're on the sides, so you have to remove them. And one side's going to fully come off, and the other side, which I believe is this side, the side that has the reclining part, has to stay on. So these are the sides, plastics on the Prelude seats. You got to remove that piece of shit, and there's just going to be a screw in there, and you got to take off these handles, and this has the memory handle. So we'll see how that goes. I've never dealt with that, but I'll show you guys after I take it off. Right, so once you take that bitch off, here's the 14 millimeter bolts, 1 and 2, And if you're lucky and you smoke, you'll find yourself a cigarette in there. First, to remove the rails, you got to remove these. I believe they're 12mm. There's 3 of them. You might need a wrench to get to them, but remove those and then remove the other side so you can get the rails off. And I believe the other side's the same as this. It might be different, but we'll get to that right now. And then after you remove the rails, then you can remove the 14mm. And then for the other side, you just got to take off this cap. Again, Phillips screws with that Phillips screwdriver, obviously. And then take off that 14mm bolt. And when you remove this plastic, there's going to be another one under. Remove that, and then this whole thing will come off. And that's what you need. So there we go. I got the plastic off. There's the other 14mm, and then you got to remove this one too. This is what connects the top part with the bottom part, like on the other seat. And just takes a little wiggling, but just slide this shit out. I think there's a bolt that goes up, but once you get that out, then they'll get apart from each other, and then I'll show you the rest. After you disconnect everything, it's all gonna be ready to go. You just need to take off this clip. You can either take it out or break it out. I break it out because I don't give a fuck about it. But make sure you do not cut this wire unless you don't care about the reclining from the headrest part. But I like all the features that the seats give, so I just leave it on. So here's the seat disconnected. And the reason you're gonna need the cutting wheel is because of this part. Once you try to put it on with the other freaking pan, with the EF pan, this goes into the seat and like stabs into it, and it gets in the way. So what we're gonna do with the cutting wheel is cut that piece off.
The caveman starts to cut.
I'm gonna cut this piece off, but make sure you do not cut past this. You need this hole here, that way the wire can still pass through. Or the cable, I mean. So just cut diagonally or however. And remove any sharp edges. That way it doesn't cut your seat, obviously. Then going back to over here. Here's those rings I was talking about. These are gonna be a bitch or easy if you've already done it. But just remove that, get all the fabric off like last time, and then remove the pan. And there's going to be one thing holding back the pan. There's these springs that connect to this wire. Just cut the springs out, that way it'll let this thing come out and you'll be good to go. I got the pan off, the bitch. Now it's time to mate that one up. It should come out something like this, with the back part all the way in the back. Then this part where the top of the seats gonna later bolt onto. You just gotta use that box cutter knife to cut a hole so you can see it. Just gonna overlap all the stuff and use your zip ties to strap it up. I usually strap them to these hooks. There's like holes, but it works anywhere that you can tie the zip tie to. Here's a tip for you guys. See these holes that I already made from the pins, the hog pins or whatever they're called? You could use a Phillips screwdriver and just shove it through there to make it bigger, so then the zip tie fits better. And then you can just run it over and tighten it up here. So there it is, all finished with the zip ties. To hold the fabric nice and tight. See? Hate that yellow stuff. But it's all good. So the next step after that is finished is over on this side. What you guys are going to need to do is loosen these. They're 10mm. That way you can get this cable out of the way, because you're going to need to drill through here on the pan once you get on here. Alright, do you guys remember this bolt? This is when you're going to need it. You're going to need to get the seat connected with this. and screw in that bolt. Helps to lean it up on something like that. There's that rail with the lever. Just tighten that, finger tight. Alright, this next part is critical. Make sure you get some help. You're going to try to straighten the seat as much as possible so it does not look crooked. And then once you get it good enough, have someone hold that. And in that spot where the 14mm used to be, I think it's too dark for you guys to see. Right there, you're gonna drill through it. Okay, so this is a 3/8 drill bit. Just drill through that hole. And after that, remember those bolts I told you guys to get? You're gonna put the bolts through. There we go. This is a 10 by 1.25 bolt. These both are. One is longer than the other, and you need that. At least that much bigger. And those were M10 by 1.25. And you're going to put these in the holes, and you can either thread the holes first, which I might do if it's necessary, or you can just try screw them in there. They sometimes hold pretty good. That's what I did on the EK seats. So yeah, just drill those holes where you find that it's best and the seat looks the most straight and aligned like it's supposed to be, and then just drill away and tighten it up. So the seat is bolted up. There's the bolts that I put in, and this is why you need that longer one, like I said in the beginning of the video, because it goes across a pretty good gap. But I ended up threading them, and I used a tap and die. You can get that in any hardware or auto parts store. I got mine at O'Reilly's. It works a lot better. It tightens up real good, and all that's left is to put on the plastics and my rails. Here we go. I'll tighten them all the way down. Eject your seat, cuz. Nice and tight. That's all set. Stop it. There you have it, guys. Two seats fully done. Everything put back. Next is the install for the car. That's the one I did first. Everything fully functional. Here you guys go. Any questions, leave them in the comments. Subscribe, like. Thanks.